We've been talking about ad platforms and changes. You know what's consistent? It's what you own, which is your brand, your customer service, your reputation. If all you do is depend on ads to grow your business, I want to have you consider what happens when you change the platforms. What happens when you have a new algorithm come through? What happens when Facebook decides to change the way they're going to give you targeting options? What happens when Google Ads goes haywire? What do you rely on? You rely on the brand that you've built and also on the organic business acquisition, which is referrals, which is Google Maps, which is Google search. Hey there, my friend. Welcome to another Contractor Click episode. You're tuning into a special episode where we're talking about what's working now in this season. This is your host, Danny Barrera, with my amazing co-host and partner, Maddie.
So happy
Welcome
to be
back.
here. Thank you. So happy to be here.
This is the second show in the last 30 minutes that we're shooting. So we were shooting this one. We kind of went sideways in the conversation. So we like to keep it real, raw, relevant here, guys. And we want to make sure we bring you what's working so that you can take action. And one of our missions here at Contractor Click is to empower the home improvement industry. So if you're a concrete coating or home improvement contractor and you're looking to generate more leads, book more estimates, or sell more projects, you've come to the right show. What we're talking about today is, look, we just got out of an election race, very competitive, over $1 billion spent into advertising campaigns and compressed into months. Let's talk about what that did into the advertising landscape. Just the amount of money that was put into the advertising platforms. For those that are listening, they're running a business. They've spent money into Facebook ads, Google ads, YouTube ads. I mean, you name it. They've been spending money. They've been seeing their ads, cost per lead, cost of marketing go up significantly.
Yes.
What have you seen on your world?
Well, definitely I see it too. There's a lot of money being put in the market during this season, which meant that the cost per impressions were very, very high. I'm also seeing in this particular climate too, something else that I'm seeing is that there was a lot of just like noise in terms of ads and political stuff and people posting ads that were politically related that felt like they were towards a specific agenda. So there was a lot of chatter, a lot of noise, a lot of stuff, a lot of money being put into the market. And that hiked up the cost per lead big time, especially if you kind of blend it into that noise.
Yeah. I mean, we saw a specific group of businesses that did quite well regardless, that embraced some of the things that we've been talking about here in the podcast. And a lot of them are our clients. And, some of those things I like for you to talk about is what have you seen work best that it's continuing to work. And I believe as we head into Q1 of 2025, dating this podcast, you're going to see that become more of what more businesses embrace. Now, if you're an early adopter and this is what you implement and you follow strategy, you're simply going to get more leads. You're going to sell more jobs and you're going to show up, and close more jobs at the end of the day. What are some of the things you're seeing working really well into advertising for lead generation?
Well, on Facebook, on social media ads, what I'm seeing work really, really well is user-generated content. So I'm seeing a lot of people post the content that has the actual owner of the business in front of the camera, whether they're talking about a process or they're talking about an interview with the actual client that they just saw, or explaining how the current job that they're doing is fantastic, tips on how to do their job really, really well. All that stuff is definitely working much better than anything else at the moment. And I think you kind of have to think about people on TikTok looking at all those like memes and things like that. And they kind of want to see something, I guess, that's entertaining and not just selling to them, buy this is the best. So that's...
Yeah. One of my earlier mentors, Billy Jean, shout out to Mr. Billy Jean. Back in the day, remember when I went to San Diego, we were first dating?
Yeah.
And that was 7-8 years ago.
Yep. I still have that hoodie.
You still have it?
Mm-hmm.
The Genius hoodie?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So anyways, he's one of the individuals I learned advertising from, the social media advertising from. But back in the day, he used to talk about like you got to entertain and then you educate and then you convert. And then that's kind of like the formula that I'm seeing still work up to this date. And it all starts out, if you're running social media advertising campaigns, it's the first 3 seconds. How are you hooking someone? We call it the hook. How are you getting their attention and being disruptive, standing out from anyone else out there? And I'll speak to the concrete coating contractor. So if you're selling the same product, same service, technically speaking, as someone else, are you running the same offer, $500 off discount? Are you running the same graphic where it's a beautiful garage floor? Are you doing the same font style, etc.? And we see that happen time and time again. Like a lot of competitors just copy our ads. They take our clients' ads, they run it as theirs. We've seen a lot of crazy things. Mm-hmm. But the ones that win are the ones that are constantly innovating, refreshing. And when we're talking about user-generated content, it's, oftentimes it's just having the business owner show their face, and we give them the script. We tell them exactly what to say, how to hook them in the first 3 seconds. And that goes such a long way to get that response.
And sometimes they don't even want to like show their face, but they'll send us like their voiceover.
Yeah.
And that's also very
But
powerful.
what works best though?
Your face.
Your face.
Yeah, your face.
Stop hiding. Mm-hmm. Like what's it's 2025, and we're living in a day and age where social media, it's not going anywhere. Search, there's a big risk for Google search coming up here in the next couple of years.
What do you see?
3-4 years. Google Ads is a completely different beast than social media. Google search, on the other hand, team, we're starting to see ChatGPT, right? It's starting to take market share, right along with Microsoft. I mean, these guys are really betting on it. 4% of the search landscape is going to AI, LLMs. When we're looking at the search landscape, the last 60 to 90 days, we've seen significant spikes on the cost per leads. In some territories, there's been major drop-offs in searches going on for services. We've had some of the individuals that are in our world, they're not clients of ours, like plumbers, HVAC company owners, and they're like, man, I was paying $200 per lead. Now I'm paying north of $1,000 per lead right during the election time. And you're asking yourself, how could that be when, technically speaking, you don't have politicians advertising on the platform for plumbing repair or HVAC. Hey, you know what I'm saying? So now that's to do with a completely set of different conversations. It is an election year after all. And when you're looking at consumers, they're looking at their dollars closely than ever before. We're headed into a new year. Like there's the election and then there's Christmas. Actually, election, Thanksgiving, Black Friday, Cyber Monday, and Christmas. So if you're selling a higher ticket item, you're selling concrete coating, you're selling remodeling services, the homeowner that's thinking about a project that's on a bigger scale, it's probably not going to be desperate to say, I'm going to get a free quote right now, right? There's just a lot going on, right? So the searches go down by default. It's just, we were talking about this with one of our mentors, is human behavior. How do humans behave when there's a lot of shifts and changes? So in the search landscape, we've seen some of the human behaviors, like less searches going on for specific services. The other thing is you got to consider as there are less searches and competitors start to feel, the ones depending on organic dates, they start to feel the slowdown. What do? They put more money into Google search ads, which just makes the cost per click even more competitive. Yeah. So it's something funny. We've had a couple of clients that they saw the cost per lead go up significantly in some territories. They're like, hey, you guys got to do something. We had our Google Ads person go in there, boom, and start revamping campaigns. It actually backfired, revamping campaigns and putting more money to advertising campaigns. we've had clients that they doubled their Google Ads budget, and they were too high pressing to like, let's double it up, let's go all in and all of that. And we're like, wait a second, there's a strategy and a method to increasing the ad spend in an ad campaign. You don't just go to the ad platform in Google Ads and say, I want to spend from $150 a day to $300 a day. That's going to kill the entire performance of the campaign. And Google will take your money gladly. They'll find a way to spend it. They'll find a way to get you in front of people, to get you clicks, and not any more conversions. It's the funniest thing
I think
ever.
That's a misconception with Facebook too. I think the misconception is that the ads manager and even Google Ads, all the platforms, I think that the misconception is it's like almost like a slot machine in like Vegas.
It gets to that point, but in this season,
it's not like that.
In this season specifically, I want to just be 100% with you. It's been a roller coaster for every advertiser. And if anyone's telling you, hey, we have a 100% success rate in all of our ad accounts, I would beg to differ and just be careful, because they're probably not telling you the truth. I'm part of all these agency groups, 7-figure agencies, and all of these things. And like, we just went through a coaching group in November. And one of the biggest stressing points is like, hey, like ad accounts are all over the place. And the one thing that I found to be true is the campaigns that have been performing very well in certain territories, so no difference going into the election, and then they're coming out on the other side. Now it's winter time. Now they start to see it. Select few accounts in specific territories, they saw a drop. Instead of the drop being in December, they saw a drop happening towards the end of September.
Yes.
So there's this big gap. And you look at the territories, you got, we're analyzing, okay, where is this territory? Like how much more competition? What's the cost per click? Like we're just comparing data by data. But at the same token, like seeing less conversion, some territories saw less leads and more sales happening with those fewer leads.
Yes.
Which is the weirdest thing.
The weirdest thing.
So we're talking about this slot machine type of thing, or like, the vending machine. I love to use that analogy because when we're in the season and it's not a political year, we can literally forecast right down to the dime how much you put into advertising, what's your average cost per click, what's your conversion rate on the landing page, and how much your cost per lead is going to be on average. And there's a ballpark, there's like a 10% over or under. And based on that, you can create a scale for the entire year. So if you've been in business for more than one political race, you probably are used to or familiar. Now, the last political election, right? The last political election, we saw a different sense in the buyer's cycle, which we didn't see it. Now, I was talking to a business owner. He's like, hey, not last political race, but the one prior, this economy just felt just like that.
Yeah, I think the last one that happened, the last political election before this one, there was a lot of that COVID rush. So there was a lot of like money in the economy, and it was like a little bit less hard it was a little bit easier per se than this particular election. This election was really, really difficult.
Right. Well, and in some cases, like we've had, and look, we're having conversations with our clients right now in the 2025 marketing plan. So if you're one of our amazing Contractor Click client partners, make sure you book your call as soon as you can. And we're having a planning session here at the end of this month, and also beginning of January. So if you cannot get in, those are all hands-on planning sessions where we look at the advertising budget, where we'll look at the performance. We can go back as far back as we can get lead data and all of that information, conversions, sales data. And then we create a plan of action and also look at your search landscape, Google search. Hey, what are the most profitable keywords? How can we look at the rankings and the performance in those specific territories? And those are the conversations we're having for the 2025 marketing plan. So if you're one of our Contractor Click clients, then you get to join us at no extra cost. Now, if you're someone that's listening to the podcast, we are launching a complimentary 2025 marketing plan. It's not the exact same one that we're running for our clients. With our clients, we have data, so we can actually get right in there and help them and work with them in a very personalized fashion. This one is more of a masterclass. It's like a webinar, right? So we're going to share what we know is working, what you should be preparing, and then we're going to post a replay over on YouTube. So if you're listening to this on YouTube, hit that subscribe button and make sure that you are just stay put for the masterclass coming through towards the end of December. That's where we're going to upload it. Yep. So going back to the conversations, search landscape. It's been an interesting end of the year, and there's a lot of changes happening with the way Google's been testing their ads placements. They ran for those running LSAs, which is the the Google guaranteed ads that show up on top. There's been an update in that algorithm as well. So clients that are in the home service space have seen just a whole bunch of volatility in there. And you got to ask yourself, like, why does Google do that, right? Like, why are they all of a sudden giving benefit to other businesses that perhaps don't have their profiles as optimized or any of those things? And that's what digital marketing is this constant change that's happening in the platforms. It's constant change that's happening in, hey, how do you optimize for what the updates that they've done in the platforms and so forth? So when we look at ad stability in the Google search landscape, we're getting to the point where it's getting back to stability into like a regular December. But we're starting December here. We've had the entire month of November go haywire in some accounts. In others, it's been very stable. In others, it's been outperforming what it was the prior year. Like I had a client send me a screenshot. He's like, last year he made $60-something thousand. This year he's over $93,000. A lot of it is Google search. He's making more, spending the same. So it's interesting because it's different in every territory.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Right?
Yeah, I agree with that.
So leads me to the next point, which is like brand.
Yes, I was going to ask you, what can you tell us about brand consistency and what does it do in the sales cycle? Well,
it does everything. So we've been talking about ad platforms and changes. You know what's consistent? It's what you own, which is your brand, your customer service, your reputation. And oftentimes, like here's the biggest thing. If all you do is depend on ads to grow your business, when I have you consider what happens when you change the platforms, what happens when you have a new algorithm come through, what happens when Facebook decides to change the way they're going to give you targeting options, what happens when Google Ads goes haywire? What do you rely on? You rely on the brand that you've built, and also on the organic business acquisition, which is referrals, which is Google Maps, which is Google Search. And then you have your social media organic, right? So I'm going to put a bigger emphasis here for any listener. 2025, okay? If you haven't taken social media seriously, take it really seriously. You want to stand out from the rest. You want to stand out in the right way, in the fastest way. There's no easier way to do it than you creating content that's engaging. We're talking to our podcast producer here, and he was saying like they just launched an organic video, and I don't know how many views you got on that video. No paid ads behind it. Nothing. That's 4,000 impressions. Now, to give you some perspective, listener, how much were some of our clients paying per CPMs, per 1,000 impressions in the heat of the election?
I can't remember that number.
It was in the hundreds in some cases.
Yeah, it was high. It was crazy high.
For some, it went up to 200, 300. Like it was nuts. Like
crazy high.
let's go back down. It was like you saw one ad account you were showing me, and with our team we're going through. It's like 50 impressions, and you're like at $30. You're like, what's going on here?
Yeah, I was like,
you're paying almost $1 per impression, like shutting off those ads and like restarting, and it was wild. So imagine being at the mercy of that. And let me fast forward, social media. And you might be saying, well, I don't have time. Well, if you don't have time, you don't have to do it yourself, but you have to get a plan in place. And that's what we're going to be covering in the 2025 digital marketing planning for concrete coating and home improvement contractors is what type of content should you be creating. We're going to show you exactly what's working. We're going to give you the hints and tips of what's working for our clients that you can implement on your business. Because the organic side, that type of organic, I bet you from those videos, you got comments and you probably got a couple of texts or phone calls. Did you?
Yeah, we actually, it was, that was exactly what happened. People were commenting, oh man, this is a really nice studio and you guys are really funny. Like,
there you go.
I was like, oh wow, cool.
And then you know what you can do with those 4,000 free or free impressions on social media? You can send paid traffic to it, targeting the people that saw it, and it just boosts your ads even higher, which is really cool.
You remarket
really cool.
them, you follow them, the ones that commented, you send them, and you spend $1 on remarketing.
$1, really cheap. Yeah.
So the fastest way to get your advertising cost of marketing to go down is you got to invest, and that probably means like if you're not going to do it yourself, because trust me, I'm a marketer, but I'm not a social media curator and the editor. We have a team that does that, you know, and we give it to our team to do it. But as an owner, I find myself sometimes looking at these things and it's like, there's no way I can keep up with all the changes, you know, all the editing and all that's got to get done. So sometimes you gotta source to the professionals if you can't do it yourself. If you're just starting now, you have the time, great. Now, if you want to take this seriously, do it. At the Marketing Breakthrough Retreat, we talked about creating a podcast for yourself, taking your personal brand seriously. Platforms like this will make your cost of acquisition go down because you have a bigger brand, more visibility. It's that simple. It's not like that's it. You got to show up. Like we're taking time. It took us about an hour to get to the studio. You know, we're taking out of our day, but we know that this video is going to live. The audio is going to go out. It's going to be syndicated throughout different platforms. Over time, this might reach hundreds or thousands of individuals over the next couple of years, and that's branding.
Yeah.
It doesn't pay off overnight.
Right.
Now, it might, if you're really good at it. Look at the Epoxy Pros, for example, right?
Yeah, but they haven't been overnight either.
They have not been overnight. It takes some time.
Consistent.
Now, so that's the organic social. Organic Google, it's another beast. And it's still got a couple of more years. Yeah. You still got to have that website that's showing up on the top. It's got to have that Google business profile that's showing up in the right territory. You got to get your reviews going. And what we've noticed is the clients that have all those different pieces and components have been just fine this year.
I agree.
And the ones that are just single-legged business, that's just producing leads just from Facebook ads, right? What happens when the elections were going up? Oh my gosh, they're crying. Oh my gosh. You know, it's like, okay, we've been talking about this for over a year now.
Right. But exactly. But meanwhile, the guys that have all the other stuff are like, well, I got like 50 leads on my website. So it's kind of okay
which it was funny. We were running a test in the Midwest for one of our clients. This guy got more organic leads than he did from Facebook ads.
And Google.
And it's usually the other way around. And Google ads. So more from organic. But guess what? He's installing jobs. The trailers are out. The crews are out. The branding is out there. Everyone's seeing the brand. They're Googling the name. You know, he's posting on YouTube. So it's time. It's time to take your marketing seriously. And if you want to capitalize, I believe 2025 is going to be a growth year for all the businesses that put themselves forward and take their marketing seriously. So if this resonates with you, I would invite you to book a complimentary call with us at Contractor Click. And this is for those businesses that, hey, you're looking to go to that next level. You know, you've been investing into marketing and advertising. Maybe this year hasn't worked as well as you wanted it to. Maybe it has. Maybe you're looking for that next level growth and you want to see what else is possible for your business. All you have to do is go to contractor.click. And we've run through this. First is the discovery process, where it's discovering, learning about your business. What are your goals, your growth goals, your revenue goals and targets? And then we slow down and then we build a strategy to figure out what's it going to take when it comes to advertising spend, the channels, the mediums, the strategy that you need in order to hit your revenue growth goals. And it's as simple as that. It's complimentary. All you have to do is go to Contractor.click and find the schedule and get yourself booked in, and then we'll have a conversation. Otherwise, if you're looking for free content on how to grow your business, make sure that you subscribe on the YouTube channel Contractor Click, our podcast, the Contractor Click Podcast on Apple, Spotify, you name it, Amazon. Maddie?
Yeah,
anything else?
I suggest you do that. If you go back and you look at our podcast, give us a couple of watches back, and you're going to see that the things that Danny's saying that we talk about here have all come to fruition. So we've been saying this stuff for a minute, and every time we say it, we like give you that head start.
So let me leave you with this. Okay? I'll leave you with this one. I already wrapped up the show, but I'm going back here. This is not to brag. It's an honor to serve our clients. It's an honor to show up for our clients, every single one of them. But we've made a commitment to be transparent with our client relationships in the advertising space. I'm not going to bend. We're not going to hype it up. We're going to own up to whatever is the reality of the marketplace. That is pretty much it. That means we're not going to hype it up. We're not going to lie to you if you're one of our clients. And in some territories, we've told our clients, hey, look, this is what's happening in the territory. So individuals that made the decision, hey, let's try someone else is promising that they're guaranteeing results. They've jump shipped. Now we've got emails coming in, we got messages coming in, we got literally, I mean, right now it's about to be a dozen.
Yeah.
And what are they saying? Can we jump on a call again?
Yeah, can we jump on a call again? And the funny thing is that the fear, the piece.
It's fear.
The fear piece for the jumping ship, sometimes, like, we have answers for that. Like, we have a dozen other clients that have the same fear and are actually conquering it because of the things that we've told them.
So the point I want to make is, it's just interesting to see human behavior again. If you're a business owner, we get it, man. For some territories, some businesses, it's been slow. For others, man, it's been the best year ever. And we're here to serve you. I just want to leave you with that. And thank you so much for listening. Make sure you hit that subscribe button. We'll see you on the next one.